Deep in southern Russia, beneath layers of ice, rock, and time, lies a mystery that refuses to settle quietly into the past. Hidden within the unforgiving terrain of the North Caucasus Mountains is a vast subterranean structure so precise, so unnervingly deliberate that it challenges everything we think we know about ancient history. Far below the frozen surface, walls descend with machine-like accuracy, surfaces polished smooth in ways that seem impossible for primitive tools, and chambers open into monumental spaces that feel more engineered than eroded. Its age is unknown. Its purpose is unclear. And its creators, if there were creators, remain a haunting question mark. Some researchers dare to suggest that people living more than 20,000 years ago may have possessed skills we do not credit them with. Others hesitate even to ask the question. What unsettles scientists most is not what can be seen, but what defies explanation. Something incredibly old appears to be sleeping beneath the Caucasus, quietly challenging the limits of human knowledge. This enigma is often referred to as the Caucasus Enigma, a mountain passage that feels as though it was never meant to be found. High in the North Caucasus Range, within the Russian Republic of Kabardino-Balkaria, the landscape is as breathtaking as it is merciless. Snow-covered peaks dominate the horizon, including Mount Elbrus, which rises more than 18,000 feet into the sky, its summit permanently locked in ice. From afar, the region looks majestic and serene. Up close, it is brutal. Jagged ridgelines carve the land into shards, valleys drop suddenly into darkness, and forests grow so dense that sunlight struggles to reach the ground. For centuries, travelers describe the Caucasus as a place that tests endurance and strips life down to its raw essentials. But alongside this harsh beauty exists something less visible yet deeply rooted in the region's identity: stories. Kabardino-Balkaria is home to many ethnic groups, each preserving their own languages, customs, and legends. Passed down through generations are tales not just of heroes and spirits, but of hidden tunnels, endless caves, and underground passages that stretch far beyond what nature should allow. Some stories speak of entire communities retreating beneath the mountains to escape enemies above. Others describe stone corridors so straight and smooth they seemed shaped by skilled hands using tools far ahead of their time. For generations, these stories were dismissed as folklore, imaginative echoes of a superstitious past. Yet the consistency of these accounts, recorded by folklorists and remembered by local residents, suggested that something tangible might lie beneath the myth. During the Soviet era, the Caucasus was heavily surveyed for natural resources such as oil and minerals. Maps were drawn, expeditions launched, and reports compiled, yet vast portions of the region remained poorly understood. Locals continued to speak of strange shafts plunging into solid rock, of stone blocks stacked like bricks deep underground, and of passageways that looked anything but natural. It was this overlap between legend and unexplained geology that caught the attention of a small number of researchers willing to look beyond conventional explanations. Among them was Artur Jimakov, a seasoned Russian cave explorer with a lifelong fascination for the underground world. Known for venturing into remote and dangerous locations, Jimakov stood apart not just for his courage, but for his belief that ancient stories mattered. He treated folklore as a map of clues rather than fantasy, comparing legends with geological data, historical records, and even World War II military documents. By the late 2000s, Jimakov's attention narrowed to a remote peak in Kabardino-Balkaria, often referred to as Mount Karora. Wartime records hinted that German forces had shown unusual interest in the area during their Caucasus campaign in 1942. To Jimakov, this overlap was impossible to ignore. He believed the Caucasus was not just a natural wonder, but a massive archive of forgotten history. With careful planning and a small trusted team, he set out to investigate. What they found was subtle at first. A narrow vertical opening hidden by erosion and vegetation cut straight down into solid rock. Unlike natural cave entrances, the shaft was smooth, clean-edged, and unnervingly straight. Standing at its edge Chimikov understood he may have stumbled upon the physical echo of the old stories, a place where, as shepherds like to say, the earth swallowed secrets. The shaft descended roughly 130 feet straight down, with no room for error. The team prepared meticulously, knowing that once committed, there would be no easy retreat. As they lowered themselves into the darkness, the walls pressed in close. Smooth and uniform, reflecting the weak glow of headlamps with a muted sheen. There were no jagged edges, no signs of water erosion, only faint parallel lines running with unsettling regularity. This is not how caves behaved. After more than an hour of careful descent, the shaft opened suddenly into a massive underground chamber. The shift in scale was disorienting. The ceiling soared nearly 120 feet overhead, and the chamber spread outward like a buried cathedral. The walls were composed of enormous rectangular stone blocks, some estimated to weigh over 200 tons, stacked with such precision that the joints were nearly invisible. No mortar, no gaps, just stone meeting stone with surgical accuracy. Massive upright blocks stood like pillars, and narrow corridors branched off with the same sharp angles and smooth surfaces. Nothing about the space felt random. Natural caves. Archaeotic, shaped by erosion and time, but this place felt measured and intentional. And yet there were no artifacts. No tools, no carvings, no soot from torches, no signs of habitation. If humans built this place, it was not meant to be lived in. The absence was unsettling. It suggested purpose without familiarity, intelligence without context. The team understood the danger as well as the wonder. With only one narrow vertical exit, little air circulation, and total darkness beyond their lights, the chamber was not a place to linger. Still, what they had seen could not be unseen. They had not discovered a cave. They had entered something. Built. Once footage of the Karora shaft surfaced online, its anonymity vanished. Documentaries, podcasts, and long-form investigations seized on the story. Engineers and archaeologists noticed similarities to the Great Pyramid of Giza, particularly the precision stonework and vertical design. The comparison raised uncomfortable questions. Could advanced architectural knowledge have existed far earlier and across far greater distances than we assume? Theories multiplied. Some suggested the shaft was part of a larger underground complex, possibly a ventilation system. Others proposed it functioned as an acoustic or energy chamber designed to interact with natural forces in ways we barely understand. More radical ideas claimed it was the surviving core of a collapsed, pyramid-like structure or even an ancient energy generator. Adding to the mystery were its connections to 20th century history. Nazi Germany's interest in ancient myths and lost civilizations is well documented, particularly through organizations like the INERB. During the Caucasus campaign, German troops reportedly showed unusual interest in certain mountain sites near Karora, and swastika carvings were allegedly found near the shaft. Whether these were territorial markings or something more symbolic remains debated, but the overlap of ancient legends and modern obsession deepened the intrigue. The swastika itself is an ancient symbol predating Nazism by thousands of years, associated with life and cyclical renewal across Eurasia, further blurring the line between past and present. Despite growing interest, the investigation stalled under a shadow of tragedy. In 2015, Artur Jimikov announced what colleagues believed was a major breakthrough. One day later, he was struck by a car and killed under circumstances many found suspicious. 2 years later, Vadim Chernobrov, founder of the research group Cosmopoisk and a key figure in studying Karora, died of cancer. Several others connected to the research also passed away unexpectedly. Whether coincidence or something darker, the pattern was enough to halt further exploration. Funding disappeared. Official investigations never materialized. No peer-reviewed studies emerged. The site slipped into silence. Today, Karora exists in a strange limbo between science and speculation. Photographs show geometric forms and smooth surfaces that seem unnatural, yet geologists argue rare natural processes could explain them. With no new data, both sides remain locked in debate. Online forums and alternative history communities continue to dissect every image and rumor. If Carora were ever confirmed to be man-made, it would force a rewrite of human history, pushing advanced engineering back tens of thousands of years. Yet even without answers, the mystery endures. Nestled deep within the Caucasus Mountains, Carora stands as a reminder of how much remains hidden beneath our feet, and how fragile our understanding of the past truly is.